Carbitrage Podcast, episode 137. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinitsky, and also Jana.
Hi, I'm
Jana,
back.
welcome back,
Hello.
Jana.
Jana's here, yay!
It's been feels like probably a month.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. I think before I saw you at Oktoberfest, I think I hadn't seen you in probably a month.
Yeah, that sounds right. Either
Yeah.
way, welcome
Yeah,
back.
between us doing every other week where we're actually recording and then
All right,
Jana
it's hard to keep
digging
track
and
of.
stuff. Yeah, a
I'm
month
just,
is a very real thing.
It's the first time.
Elusive archaeologist, so
First time I've had to turn up microphone number 3 in quite some time.
right.
I've just had it off the last several weeks. So, anyway, I want to start off with mentioning actually beer first. I am drinking a Surly grapefruit something or other.
It's
Grapefruit Supreme.
Is it
tart ale.
Is it super hoppy?
No, has no hops.
What?
Well, no hop flavor.
That's very unsurly.
Which is why it's a good beer. Also courtesy of Tom. Thank you, Tom Hayes.
Yay! Thank you, Tom.
And it looks like Ryan, you're doing a Pabsty.
Yeah, I've got a PBR growing out my mustache.
Mr. Blue Ribbon.
Got,
Are you?
got my Doc Martens on under the table.
What are you hipstering about today?
What am I hipstering about? I'm a hipster about actually last episode, our conversation that we had in great length about the merits of the BMW Supra engine versus the Toyota Supra engine.
No, I wasn't using that as a segue. We still have to cover Patreon.
Oh shit! Okay, carry on.
I'm drinking China black tea with vanilla, which was a mistake. I should have done honey.
I actually stopped at Starbucks on the way here after I had a cup of very strong black coffee at home, and I got a a pumpkin cream
Oh, those
nitro
pumpkin
cold
cream,
press.
yeah.
I've been very jittery since then, but that still
Yeah.
sounds pretty
Yeah,
good.
it's good. It's from a local coffee shop by my house called Westside Perk, and it has a drive-through. So
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice, and it's in my reusable holographic coffee mug.
That reminds me of like school folders from the early 2000s.
Yeah, I love it. Somebody gave it to me for Christmas a while back.
So with
Cool.
Westside Perk, they
Yeah.
are very convenient in that they are an independent coffee shop that's a drive-through.
Yeah.
Now, don't ever in your life get any mixed coffee drink there because they use like the most overly flavored like Ghirardelli chocolate and they're like lattes and
I like
stuff
them,
like
and
that.
they're really affordable.
And it just like
Ryan just doesn't like
it's
their
Flavor
chocolate.
Town and it's just too much.
Yeah, there is such thing as overdoing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my only issue is like but
Their
if,
lattes are good. Just the chocolate-based stuff is
Yeah.
really chocolatey. So if you like chocolatey, then
I'm not a
You're
huge
good
fan
to
of
go.
chocolate, so
it's one of the, you'll need an EpiPen. So you can go to diabetic
flag
shack.
down the police. They carry those. Anyway, I want to hop into Patreon, and then we'll get going on your topic.
Totally.
Head on over to patreon.com/carbitrage. Check out the 2 open-ended support levels that we have for content consumers like you to directly support content producers like us.
That was me, I'm sorry.
That's right. We use the money exclusively just to fund beer at this point. So hop on over there if you'd like to. If not, we certainly understand. Feel free to keep right on listening. So, yes, let's talk about an elaboration on Supras.
1 second.
Oh, all right. So if
super.
you guys missed it,
Okay.
2 or 3 episodes ago, we had a very heated debate, which I'm
Well,
not going to touch on too much about
I
the
think
2JZ
it was-
I can
versus the
feel
B58.
the anger rebubbling to the
I
surface.
think I wouldn't call it a heated debate. I'd call it a academic discussion
Okay.
All right.
with
I don't believe
yelling
that.
and swearing and threats of violence, as one does during academic discussion.
Academia would be much more interesting if it was everything
over
was
here
that
sipping
intense.
Oh, you should watch.
No segues. Talk to me about the
Sorry.
thing.
Anyway, so we are both correct,
I know.
and the reason I'm saying that we're both correct is the company that did a 2JZ swap into a Mark V
Yeah.
has now done another swap. They've done an LS swap.
Oh.
But not the LS you're thinking of. A 3UZ FE.
I was gonna say I see double overhead cam.
Yes, it's a 3UZ FE swap. Now, we may disagree which
odd.
straight six is best straight six, but we think we can both agree that this engine is worse in every way.
Yeah, the 3UZ doesn't have like what am I thinking of? Like some quality that's like
it doesn't have its merits. Like it's fine. It's
endearing.
It
Doesn't have any endearing.
No,
qualities.
it doesn't. It's fine. It's
a fine engine.
if you buy a car with a 3U ZFE in it,
Yeah, leave it in
that
there.
you've
It's fine.
bought a good car. If you're putting an engine into a car, 3U ZFE is like down the totem pole of V8s, right around where like the 3.5 liter Land Rover V8 is. Like I wouldn't recommend swapping it in unless it's very cheap and readily available. Now the reason being is the 1U ZFE is a great engine because that's the one with the giant rods in it.
Especially
it's super
the
overbuilt.
pre-VVTi,
VVTi.
pre-VVTi 1UZ.
Yes. And this one is
Definitely
very
a VVT engine.
and the 3UZ, I think they max at about 500 horsepower.
Could be.
Like if that, once you start actually building power on them. So you're not gonna really be able to do a whole lot unless you tear the engine apart.
And it's a drift car?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
No, that's too expensive a car to throw around.
Yeah,
Especially if you put a new engine in it. That doesn't
Right.
it
like
doesn't really make
enjoy
sense.
it, but not in that way.
To be fair, it is D1 GP and
Is
D1.
it sponsored?
Yeah, if
Okay.
D1 GP in Japan, that's kind of like their like the DTM of racing. Like that's in that one market, that's the biggest thing that you can get.
Okay, so like they really just wanted a Supra and get it paid for?
Yeah,
It's probably like an express car or something like that,
Oh,
where it doesn't have a
okay.
VIN that can be registered or something
yeah,
like
it's
that.
probably
That
something
makes
like
sense.
that.
Or they just
And-
give it to them a body in white.
yeah, and then they, they wanted to do something that was like strange and new to like
It's
get
like
their
me
name out.
putting a
Oh.
Ford flathead in a BMW
Yeah,
V36
just
M3.
to
Just
get
'cause you can.
people
It's just
peaked and interested from a
Yeah.
from a area that they might not be exposed.
I would prefer to see like a Yaris GRMN engine in here with like a
That'd
huge
actually be
turbo
really cool.
on it.
Oh, that
Like,
would be fun.
Because then it would harken back to the 4-cylinder racing Supras in the Mark IV.
Yeah.
Or 3S GTE swap, just do that because they already did.
Super heavy, though.
I know, but they already did the JZ, so might as well just go with. Yeah.
The Lexus NX200T engine. That's already a 2-liter turbo.
Oh, is it? Oh, that'd actually be very cool.
Yeah. I forgot that Toyota makes a pretty okay 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder.
That's kind of what everybody thinks about Toyota's 2-liter 4-cylinders.
I forgot. That's a very Toyota reaction, but that is a pretty strange swap. I don't hate it, but I don't understand it either.
I think we can both agree that regardless of what Straight Six was previously in the Supra, it was better than that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that is just
Yeah.
objectively
Unless this car somehow came with a 5MGE, which is objectively worse than a 3UZ.
Yes. I was trying to come up with a rebuttal, but
No, that's why I picked a 5MGE.
I'm like,
If it was a 7MGE, you'd have a little bit of recourse.
no, the 7M is that's actually their worst engine.
Is
The,
that
the 6M is the one you're thinking of. That's the over square 3-liter 5M that they made.
I was thinking of like a 2.5 liter M series.
The 5M is the 2.8 liter
2.8.
that was in the second generation Supra.
Those did not have the head bolt tightening problems.
No, they didn't. They were they're
fine,
perfectly
7M.
fine.
Unless this
Yeah.
came with a 7MGE
Yeah.
without the head bolts readdressed.
That is just the worst engine.
And you can speak from experience on that one.
Not a fan.
You mean me?
Yeah, Jan is the one that blew it up, not me.
Yeah.
Because I
was
knew
fun.
how bad it was.
But it's just super weird that Toyota, well, it took a Toyota product, regardless of what engine was in it, and they've reduced the amount of power it made
Yeah.
by engine swapping it.
Well, the potential power. Because
Well,
I'm
yeah.
sure it probably makes more power.
We're not getting into this,
But
no.
Well, no, I mean like it probably makes more power just because like it probably makes like 5
I
more
see what you're
horsepower
saying.
more.
If it's
yeah.
like a very high state of 2 and 3 UZ versus
Yeah.
a stock B58.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Exactly.
I
As
accept.
But like actual power available, like
Power potential is just not
Yeah,
there.
it's just not
It
there
also
at
doesn't
all.
make Super E noises.
no, it sounds like a VA. Like why would you want that?
Like it sounds like a GS430 in the ghetto.
Yeah,
The flex pipes have failed.
Like literally, yes. Like why would you ever do that? It's not.
That's
you
not
don't-
in the spirit of things. You don't take horsepower away from things. You add horsepower to things.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you do. Anyway,
That's
so
exactly
let's
what.
talk about the Emma Maersk. 'Cause I like talking about boats.
That was so on the ball. I'm struggling here. So anyway, the Porsche Taycan Turbo S, aka the Maersk. We've talked about this
Starring
car a few
Liam
times.
Nielsen.
Apparently, they were like the numbers that we originally talked about for the curb weight being 5,200 pounds. Apparently, that's wrong. So I don't know
Oh.
what publication we were looking at, but even though it seemed like it was pretty reputable, I think it was Fully Charged that said that, which is one of the first, actually the first automotive journalist network that was able to drive one of these cars, still in disguise. They quoted 5,200 pounds. I'm like, that's ridiculously heavy. And they also quoted kind of mediocre performance numbers when he was testing it. So apparently this car is only 4,900 pounds, which is almost exactly the same as the 100 kilowatt hour Model S.
It's still really heavy, but yeah. But I mean, for an electric car, it's not. That's totally on the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and it's actually pretty good considering the Maersk is a full steel chassis and the Model S is all aluminum.
Yes.
So the fact that they're able to do that is pretty impressive. Top Gear UK.
How much chassis flex do you think that car has?
I would hope almost none. Almost everything super new is very, very.
But I mean, to
rigid.
be able to achieve that weight versus an
Oh.
aluminum one, like,
I bet they're using a lot of high strength steel, so it's probably really expensive.
or they
but,
they like green cut the chassis or something. Or
Right. I'm guessing there's a lot of clever. Porsche, to their credit, they've always been really good at making really light cars. They don't feel like they're light.
That's a good
Like
point.
Scott's 911 is like 2,870 pounds.
It feels like it weighs a ton.
Yeah,
Or
you
more,
drive it and like
2
it's a
tons.
3,500 pound car for sure. But I mean, they get really good performance out of them because of that. That's a little bit of a digression, I grant. Top Gear UK tested a Porsche Taycan Turbo S, aka Maersk, against Tesla Model S, P100D, Ludicrous, Raven, which is the latest edition with the best battery or whatever.
Okay.
Turns out the Taycan's a little bit faster in the quarter mile. However, since that story was published, two things have happened. One, dragtimes.com, the main dude where all these repositories are gathered, he looked at the data, and apparently one of the commenters submitted that if you go back and look at the mile an hour,
it's
60 foot, the
to
eighth
the
mile,
10th of a second.
the times and speeds are exactly the same as a 2-year-old 100D Ludicrous they tested at Top Gear.
Yes, I saw that.
And the fact that the car was not in Ludicrous Plus mode when they launched it for the test. So it won by, I think he said, like 2 car lengths or something like that. But like he equated that to how many tenths it would be, and it was wrong.
Well, did you hear Elon Musk's rebuttal to Top Gear's test?
No.
He said he like brought that up. Like he
Yeah.
actually made a tweet about that,
Okay.
and then Top Gear said, "Well, actually, we were being nice because when we tested it, it was actually slower."
Which doesn't make sense if you look at
Because-
the video footage. It
Well,
was
no,
faster.
I mean, no, the actual time compared to when it raced the AMG, the actual
see what you're
the mark
saying.
time was slower than what they put up on the screen.
But if the video footage they published from the Porsche to
Yeah.
the Tesla race was correct, it was actually faster than the timing they
Well,
published.
so this is the thing though, is the fact that they came back and said, oh well, we put up the time from its fastest published time from 2 years ago.
Right.
Well, that just calls into question Top Gear's like how factual they are.
Right.
At
Like,
all.
were the cars at the same state of charge?
Well,
Were they
no, that's the
comparable? Were
thing.
they launched correctly?
Like these, like when you're dealing with a drag race, like the barometric pressure, how humid it is outside, the temperature,
The temperature still matters for electric
all of that
cars.
stuff matters in a drag race.
Yeah.
So for you to say that this car came back 2 years later and ran the exact same time to the 10th of a second,
A different model of car,
a
too.
completely different model, yeah, like that's with a different driver.
That's weird.
And again,
That
it was
really-
marketed. I think their recent test year that we're referencing, it was 0.6 of a second different at the quarter. But the video footage they played showed 2 car lengths of difference, which is like 0.2
lot,
of a
yeah.
second. So either the Taycan was significantly slower in that piece of footage that they put out, which maybe they ran it a few times. I don't
They
know.
probably did, yeah.
Right, and that would make probably the most sense if what they're saying is correct. But either way, the fact that they're clearly reusing footage or numbers, from
Yeah.
an incorrect car, and there are plenty of confirmed quarter mile passes in a lot of different conditions all over the place for these cars that are the same as the Taycan.
That's
You know,
sloppy.
this never happened when the Holy Trinity was on Top Gear.
Correct.
And this just goes to show that the Grand Tour is more factually based than
I would like
modern
to see
Top Gear.
the Grand Tour handle this particular issue for us.
Yeah,
That would
they
be
really
lovely.
should, because
But the second point was kind of building on your Elon Musk tweet. After that, he's like, all right, even if it did win, I'm going to push out a software update that adds 5% horsepower to every Model S. And it'll be faster. So they went ahead and did that. And sure enough, I think Model 3s are 5% and Model S and X are 3%. So they're just over the air. They're just flashing the cars to make more power.
What the heck? That's so weird.
I love that.
So anyway,
what timeline do
this
we live in?
pissing contest between Maersk shipping lines and Tesla Motor Company. It's really great. So I just wanted to talk about that. But they're adding basically 50 horsepower to the Ludicrous Raven car.
As I say, I also really love that Elon Musk is just willing to do that.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, no, like this is gonna be faster.
Like, big deal.
I'm really curious. I want
Type.
I
Done.
I want there to be like an aftermarket controller or something that comes out where you can actually have the full power of the Tesla. Because obviously, every single Tesla
Or at least
probably
more.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I just want to see what these are actually capable of once entirely unleashed.
It's a lot.
That would be scary.
Because
I
every
was talking
time
to Pavel, and he was like, even my non-performance car is capable of more horsepower than a performance car stock.
Yeah, and it's like with Elon Musk,
Yikes.
like the way that they're like he
Well,
just
they have
keeps.
to honor a warranty, which is the tough
Well,
part.
yeah, I know, but that's the thing is he's leaving a lot of power on the table. It's like Toyota with their
Which is why
inline sixes. So
their
like,
stuff lasts forever.
yeah, like he's just leaving a ton of power on the table. So yeah, I'm really curious, like if one of these is like flat out, like somebody just takes like, well, your Tesla, like a totally like whatever Tesla.
poverty.
We
And
should also have Pavel on the podcast at some point.
He's so elusive, it would be tough, and he
know,
really
yeah.
likes to not be in the limelight, so he probably wouldn't do it.
That's
but
fair.
I would love it. Yeah.
If you'd like to get some talking points, we can dress Corey up in a tracksuit and have him pretend to be Russian.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. that's Finnish. But it reminds me of like a modern version of Ford versus Ferrari.
Yes,
Oh
it does.
yes,
Like
I
just
like
like
that.
the automotive pissing contest with people that can leverage
like that
enormous
comparison.
companies.
Yeah,
and
and-
just
and-
like, so what?
All of the money in the world. Also,
I really like that comparison.
I find this very annoying, but I was actually listening to the Donut Media podcast,
Okay.
Cast, and it's really, really, really good. Like, and their first episode was a 4-part series on Ford versus Ferrari.
Nice.
And they had 2 parts on the Midnight Club, and then they just finished one about Smokey Eunuch.
I like that they're focusing on culture versus releases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Here at Carbitrage, you get everything, though,
Yes.
so no need to go searching for their podcast.
yeah, there's no further podcast, but it was just really it was really annoying. So I listened to their entire podcast like at work over the course of the last 2 days. It was that good.
I definitely, I definitely understand that. So.
So speaking of pissing contests,
Yeah.
the Nürburgring has been the traditional home of.
Oh yeah, that's the yardstick.
So do you remember 10 years
meter
ago
stick.
when we were in high school and the R35 GTR came out?
I do.
Yeah, and
2008
it's still,
or 9.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
in production during our.
Basically unchanged,
It will-
except for the price.
It will be in production, largely unchanged.
Yeah,
For our high school 10-year reunion coming up later this month.
that's this month.
Yes, it is. This
Okay,
is
I have
November.
tickets, but okay.
I'm gonna buy mine tonight. But
Oh, I'm gonna be excited
So-
to go to that.
10 years ago, when the GTR came out, it had a 7-minute 29-second lap time,
That's really good.
which
still.
is really bonkers. Because you have to understand, like, that wasn't the fastest lap time, but it was the fastest lap time for attainable money.
But it also like mopped the 911 Turbo of the
Yes,
era.
it did. It totally
was twice
destroyed
the
that.
money.
But not only that, like, it came in a little bit faster than the Pagani Zonda. It came
Well,
in faster.
which variant though?
Whichever one was
The street
actually
one, I assume.
no. It was the one that
It wasn't
was like
the R.
it was the it was
have
the
been an
fast
F.
it was the fastest street version. But anyway,
Must have been the F.
yeah, I think it was the F. But yeah, no. So basically, like there was like a couple of cars that were faster, but as far as like an attainable street car, it was the fastest car you could get.
GTRs are still hugely impressive.
Yeah, and like now they're significantly faster. Like they've probably cut 30
And they've
seconds off that time.
improved the transmission so it stays together for launches.
Yes. Now, Audi, however, has taken Mom's SUV,
Oh no.
and they haven't
no.
beaten it. But can we talk about how close Audi's time is to the GTRs?
742 253.
What?
And that is
Is that in a Q8?
RS Q8, but that's effectively Mom's SUV.
Well, yeah, I mean, so for you guys don't know, the Q8's pretty new. It's about the size of a Q5, a little bit bigger, but it has, a lower belt line, a lower
Yeah.
roof line. It's kind of like one of those
It
group
looks
SUV
funky.
things.
Well, no, the Q8. No, you're not. It's not the Q8 that you're thinking of. I think you're thinking of the Q7. No, because the Q8's bigger than the Q7.
No, Q8 is
Is it not?
significantly smaller.
Okay.
It's about
This
the size
doesn't
of the
make any
Q5.
sense. But
It
anyway.
doesn't make. You're right, because like, it's like the infinity thing. Like
Yeah.
the bigger number, it should be bigger, right? Because the Q7's
Yeah.
big. No, the Q8
Like
is
the
actually pretty
BMW
small.
X5 is bigger than. Oh,
But yeah,
that's how I remember it.
Yeah, but
And it
this,
makes sense.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, because like we had this argument over what car a previous parent at my school owned, and I was like, oh, it's definitely an X5, and Ryan's like, no, it's an X whatever's bigger, and I was like, no,
X7?
it's an X5 for sure, and then
With
we
the-
saw the bigger one, and I was like, why did they make it any bigger than the X5? Like the X5 is as
big
it's
as you
already
need.
too big.
So, but yeah, so this Audi SUV like ran a 745, which is not a lap record. But you have to remember when the GTR first came out, we were excited to see a Ford Transit van run 10 minutes around the
Oh
the
yeah,
Nürburgring.
I'm still excited every time I watch that video.
Yeah.
Sabine Schmidt's behind the wheel.
And now you have an Audi Q5 that's just blasting that away. I think it's really dumb, or a Q whatever. I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
I think it's
thing.
really dumb, but it's just this is a testament to how much faster we are, just as humans.
Yeah,
For-
in
and then
just
we-
like a short
like-
decade.
that's
We're so good at engineering around problems instead of fixing them.
yeah.
Oh
At
yeah,
this point,
Yeah.
that's definitely I like
That's
like
a very
that.
good
Yeah.
description of that.
I mean, basically, we're taking the Porsche 911 mentality from the 1960s and building life on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are. And
Oh,
so,
God.
So yeah, this video is from Haggerty.
This is what I think
and
Yeah,
it's
if you're-
reposted. Yeah,
If you're, the sound is on very low, so if you're watching the stream, have fun. But
but yeah, so it's just it's absolutely ridiculous. It's actually faster than a Civic Type R
I'm gonna skip
around the
ahead
track.
to 30 seconds from the end.
But yeah, it's a twin turbo V8.
The corporate 4-liter, I'm guessing, right?
It beat the previous SUV record holder by 12 seconds.
What was it before? Oh, the
It was
GLC.
previously the GLC 63S,
Wow.
which is this is the dumbest pissing contest because all of these cars suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all auto only. And
Like-
this SUV.
This is, yeah, like all right, cool. You got
But it
the
was 12 seconds faster.
yeah, it was
Wow.
12 seconds faster, and
That's
it is
like-
objectively fast. But at the end of the day, you know what I will do? I will every day take that much slower Civic Type R any day, over that because it's
Yeah.
just not worth it to me to own a crossover.
Well, that's the thing, and like the Civic Type R is still going to be relevant and cool in a decade, and this is going to be in a junkyard in 10
Yeah.
years.
Yes, because somebody will have forgotten to clean out the sunroof drains once, and it will have
Yeah.
completely filled the body control module with water and fried the wiring.
And they
harness.
won't have done a mechatronic service, so the transmission will have exploded, and that will be a $20,000 repair bill, and the car will be underwater on its loan at $15,000 of value.
Or somebody got a flat tire in Montana. They only had one tire in
Oh,
the
no.
state that was
Oh,
that
no.
size. They had to drive it to Colorado. They got 3 more tires, and the transmission was full of metal shavings.
This is getting too real for some people, I'm sure.
I am sorry, Audi and Subaru owners that have all-wheel drive.
I mean it's very impressive, but I would rather
I
have a
would,
GTR.
yeah, just don't buy that. It's not worth it.
I'm depressed by fast SUVs, even
I
though
got
they're
to
hugely
explain
technically
why
impressive.
you have to buy all brand new tires when one tire goes out on an all-wheel drive car to
But
my
it
boss.
depends, because if you have a more modern, kind of boring all-wheel drive car, they're usually Haldex, which is electronically controlled, so you can run different size tires front and rear axle.
They
It
still
was a
do it.
Buick, I don't think.
No.
Kinda.
No, they'll still do it because once the all-wheel drive turns on, it'll still turn on, and you can't control when it turns on.
That's true.
And
Unless you
so,
have a controller, which nobody does.
yeah, nobody on Earth has a controller.
Our
but
32
it-
guys, we're looking at you.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, a lot of people they'll go, oh yeah, well it is like it's active all-wheel drive. It stays front-wheel drive until you lose control.
It's an electronic version of Honda's real-time viscous
Yeah,
clutch system.
but then imagine that you are driving and you hit ice, and then when you hit ice, that immediately grenades your transmission.
yeah, fun.
That's basically what's going to happen.
Moral of that story is just don't buy an all-wheel drive car because you don't need it.
Yes, you don't.
Yeah, no, she just bought it because it looked nice.
Now,
Merci, Twingo.
Jana,
Merci,
would you like to
what is
announce
I would
the
gladly
next topic?
bequeath the.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
the best news for
I
Jana.
haven't
this-
read this, but
Unfortunately, it's
Oh,
a
no, I
fairly
have.
old
I-
headline.
I haven't
because this
read this
happened.
because I listened to this on the radio because I listen to NPR.
Member
constantly.
supported public radio.
Yeah. So Fiat Chrysler is in a merger with Peugeot.
Ho ho ho.
Peugeot Citroen. When this
Yeah.
article was dropped in the description, this was just in talks, but now it has officially happened.
It
It's a
is.
$48 billion merger between FCA and PSA, and I think
No.
Corey is fapping.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, maybe that's
Well,
why Corey
why-
saw
why-
that one Citroen press car.
Maybe.
Maybe.
There's been Citroens and Peugeots kind of rolling around in certain
Yeah.
parts of the United
Creeping
States for
through
a while.
the United States. Yeah.
So what I'm hoping to happen here is we get like an electric Twingo, or we get a Citroen C4 Cactus.
I will literally take
yes,
the
please.
Influenza. I will take any car that they make.
If they made a new Avantime, I might
Oh
buy
my
that
God.
brand new.
That's a Renault.
Yeah, Peugeot.
Yeah, Peugeot, Renault.
You're right. Renault's different.
Oh,
It's Peugeot Citroen.
Citroen.
However,
But that's Nissan. They could still bring it to
Yeah,
us.
Nissan.
yeah, but I mean, the
Yeah.
1007.
Oh yes.
Yes, you can get.
Oh my
you can
God.
still get dumb cars. I'm excited.
I'm really excited for more French DNA because like last time we got it was the Lacar and the 505, which were pretty good, but like
Yeah.
people didn't know
People
what was
hated
going
them.
on. So
They didn't like them. I still
looking
say I
at-
want a Lacar, and people are like, no. And I'm like, oh.
I'm
Okay.
actually looking at Peugeot's UK website because I'm gonna look at what they offer right now and see if there's anything that I want.
Why does that look like a PT Cruiser? On the
well, that was like the worst Citroen or Peugeot. I don't even remember which one we were
Yeah.
looking at, but I mean this should be good. I'm a little worried because we're reducing the total number of like conglomerates that are making vehicles, so that's
Yeah,
never good
that's
for consumers. But like
concerning.
I
but-
really like FCA and I really like PSA. So
Exactly.
if we get more French stuff here because of that, which we will, I assume, at least the platforms, even if
Yeah.
we don't get them under the French mark.
Ooh, they make a 308 5-door and it's listed
Please
as a sports car.
Watch as
Twingo.
Brian goes down a French rabbit hole of doom.
You know how many millennials would buy Twingos just because of the meme Mercy
Renault.
Hon
Twingo?
hon.
Renault.
Merci Twingo.
Actually,
you're
like,
that is,
no.
Oh.
that is a Renault.
Renault, come to the United States.
Here,
So-
no, here. This is a good car. The Peugeot 108.
What the hell just happened up here?
The
There we go.
the Peugeot.
Wants you to moisturize your legs and fry
Tell me
food
more
in an air
about
fryer?
the Peugeot 108.
Well, in England right now, it is 12,000 pounds.
Okay, that's very inexpensive.
Yeah.
Ooh, is this a competitor for the Mirage?
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is. It comes with 0% APR financing. You have $1,000 against your part exchange if it's a perfect city car condition, or if it's in good condition. So basically, they give you $1,000 towards your trade-in. They give you 0% APR financing and cost $13,000 all in basically.
What's going to happen when these least special people get into Peugeots?
Oh,
The world will be a better place, Corey. Corey, that's what will happen when these least special people get into Peugeots. You can also get it as a convertible, and it's got a properly good interior. It's got tweed and tartan, which is everything everybody loves.
I don't know about tweed, but I really do love tartan.
Can you go to peugeot.co.uk and go to the 108 page, because this car's actually pretty cool. I would actually buy this. I'm seeing with a manual transmission option, PEO-GEOT. Yeah, there you go.
I like that little dinosaur thing. That was sad.
Then go to new cars.
I don't care about your privacy policy. Is it like / new cars?
Click to accept all, please.
God, this is so dumb.
And then new cars, city cars, 108.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that's a properly good car.
I want to see the interior.
Yeah, scroll down. Just it's unlimited scrolling. So no,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Ooh,
yes.
that interior.
That
is
reminds me of a
great.
2CV, like the blankets that came covering the metal spring frame.
Yeah, like I really like that a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
I really like that like gradient sort of tartan.
They've got a
almost.
green for all the
Oh, it's got
Kyles.
CarPlay,
Yeah, this car's perfect. Like I want this.
plastic seats so you can throw
Oh
engines
hell
in it.
yeah!
Oh.
This is I cannot.
air conditioning.
Wait, it's got an engine of sorts. It's 72
Oh.
horsepower, 1 liter. So
1
this
liter,
is
3-cylinder petrol engine.
literally a competitor to the Mirage.
It is a Mirage, but better because it's
If
French.
this
Yes.
came to America, I'm afraid that Mitsubishi might go out of business.
Oh,
look
it's
at
so
that.
cute.
This would absolutely eat the Mirage's lunch. I would buy this now.
And it's got
You know how many
3-spoke
I
wheels.
saw these in Mexico?
Yeah, because Mexico gets better cars
I
than we
know.
do.
It comes with free 3 years of insurance in the UK too.
For up to 3 drivers with no curfew limitations.
That is pretty bonkers.
Fun fact for our international listeners: go buy a Peugeot 108 and then tell
3
us.
years
Tell us how
warranty, and then I saw
No,
3
no,
3 years roadside assistance.
One second, you need to amend that sentence. Buy a Peugeot 108, and then before you tell us how it is, go drive a Chevy Impala.
Oh, if you can find one,
Yeah,
that still runs.
That's what you need to do.
Compare it to something that we get.
That we get, because you'll understand why we love these cars, because they are that much better.
Well, they're quirky. That's what
Every-
French cars have always
Every
been.
European person I've ever met does not appreciate cars like this, because it's just normal to them.
Just that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would
Look at that,
absolutely.
that's so cute.
I want this
they
so
match
bad.
the shift knob
I know.
to the plaid seating. Like that's
yeah.
amazing.
Like
and
the-
then the little
do you want the
plastic
green dominant
pieces?
design or the red dominant design? Okay, cool.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it's great. Like this is.
Ah.
I want this really bad.
I wish that was a one-spoke steering wheel, but
yeah,
other than
but
that,
it's fine.
Wait, I want this to come to America. Really,
has-
really, really bad.
all right, PSA, do it.
They're doing this just in time for a recession.
I'm really glad I didn't spit beer out just then because that's already happened to me once this week.
Uh,
I forget what. Not the recession, you dingbat.
no,
You mentally deficient drivel twat.
but anyway, so no, this is a did their partnership. Sorry, right as a
Merger, I believe, is the technical
sorry,
term.
they did their merger right as a recession is looming on the horizon.
Beautiful.
And Americans buy cars like these during recessions only.
They
and I
do.
think if this was available in America, this would change how we think about cars. Because
Especially if it maintains like a $12,000 price tag.
yes, or even gets 14 even.
Yeah.
Like if
Like the Fiat
you could
500's
add-
gone, so like,
yeah,
give us this.
like no, because you need.
Oh yeah, they took away our 500. We need Peugeot to replace it.
FCA took away our Fiat 500, but they merged with PSA, so hopefully some Frenchies are throwing crep at the FCA people, and we get these.
Well, because
I like seeing they're
wonder if-
making the crepes on their crepe pan and just.
I wonder if that's
flinging them into their
why.
faces.
I wonder if that's why they got rid of the 500 in America.
I doubt it. This,
No.
I mean, this wasn't even in
that was
public
No,
talks anyway. at
Well,
that time.
yeah, but that's the thing is, whenever anything is announced publicly,
No.
you can bet a year in advance.
It's because it wasn't selling because they never updated it.
Well, that's the thing. It is, but I think instead of updating it, just canning it, because now you have a whole crop of already existing cars that have been updated. You don't have to update it. I think you let the 500
But this
just
car
languish
is not
in
as cute
Europe.
as a 500, even though it's quirkier.
Ooh, you said it right as it switched to the convertible. I think you might be wrong.
No, I do
It's
like
got
that
four
it's 4
doors.
doors, though.
It's got 4 doors.
Yeah, that
which
is a better number of doors.
You can, and then
Oh.
this car is better. I'm sorry.
If they make an electric one of these,
Oh yes.
They do.
oh god.
Go up, scroll up, all the way up. Go back all the way to the top, because they do make an electric one. Now, if you go to new cars, click on that. City cars.
No, there's
Already in
electric
city
cars
cars.
right there.
Electric
Oh,
cars.
it's the 208, yeah.
So electric
Different.
cars. So, and then also the 2008. But yeah, the 208 is a little bit bigger. And they also make the stupid SUV, which I'm sure we'll get.
I watched a fully charged on the 208 EV. This is, yeah, whatever.
Get
This
this-
car's name is Baguette.
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 That looks more like a trash can. But anyway,
Oh god. John just sent me a picture of the rust holes in his daily driver.
that car's
Jacques.
nice.
Oh no.
Poor Jacques the E30.
Now,
Hot garbage.
R.I.P. Or rust in peace.
Rust in pieces.
Rust in pieces, Jacques.
Alright, what do we have next?
now, I would like to talk about the difference between how America and Japan celebrates their automotive heritage.
Okay.
Are we talking about all the Japanese cars that are decked out in Hello Kitty? Because then I'm on board.
We can after we're done with this.
Okay.
Now, in Japan, they do publicly celebrate their automotive achievements. Like in America, yeah, we're proud of the Mustang, we're proud of the Model T, and
We celebrate the 1957 Chevy.
yeah.
Yep.
But that's the thing is, we don't do that officially.
Correct.
There's never been a government.
It's not like a Chevy day.
Yeah, there's never been a government sanctioned thing. There's not a city named after a car company.
There actually are several.
Yeah.
Toyota City in Japan.
Yeah, but they're
Is there Fordville?
well, there's like Pontiac, Michigan, and
Well-
things like that. Like a lot of these things were, yeah,
Okay.
yes. I mean, a lot of they do, but they're not prominent.
Yeah.
Like they are.
Now, in Japan, though, the Japanese Postal Service just released a series of stamps celebrating 50 years of the Z car.
Oh,
Okay.
cute.
As originally publicized by a Japanese nostalgia car. But
Shameless plug.
I know, right? But if you actually look at them, it's not just the original Z car. They go through the entire history of it, like even the ones people don't like.
Like
This
even
is
the
like the
crappy
Harry
ones?
Potter stamps I buy
Yeah.
at the
So,
post office.
like every single variant. Like if you're an S130 fan, they make a stamp for you. Z31 fan, which everybody should be, they make a stamp
I
for
saw a
you.
really clean white Z31 driving in my neighborhood yesterday.
Wow, really?
I
Like-
love that.
There's salt on the ground, you know. Anyway.
Did you go warn them with a hose?
No, I was gonna try to take a picture for Ryan, but I wasn't.
So
Oh.
each book comes with a set of 10 63 yen stamps. They range from the S30 to the Z34.
How many of these stamps will be used?
Probably none of them.
I've never used my
'cause-
Harry Potter stamps.
Yeah, exactly. But that's actually
always go
very,
to
very
use
cool.
them.
Oh, with the
then I
timelines in the
don't.
shape of a Z.
Isn't that great?
That's so
Ah,
cute.
it's so cutesy wootsy.
I love Japan. I love that they like this. When people say
Is
like,
this like our duck stamp or
Kinda.
no? No, it's not like our duck stamp.
Duck,
Never
duck,
mind.
gray duck.
but yeah, I think this
That's
is
something
actually really
differently
cool. That they
entirely.
actually like celebrate stuff like this.
And it has the best Z on it, which is the Z32.
Yes, and so they take the it's a whole book, and what's really cool about it is it's not just this. It kind of tells you like the history of the Z, and it's really a celebration of the car. But what's cool about this isn't from Nissan. This is actually from the Japanese government,
Wait, I'm gonna go on the.
which is really
You
important.
can tell they're very
UKS
prideful of the
USPS.
Fair Lady Z.
Yeah, and I think that that's probably the most important thing is since this is an official government thing, like they actually do celebrate their history. I think in America, people are always wondering, oh, well, why do all the American auto manufacturers suck? Well, first off, they don't make anything anybody wants
Anymore.
ever.
I mean, back in the 50s, they were best in the world.
But that's the thing. Back in the 50s, you had official government. Well, like you actually had like the government paying attention and like actually backing their businesses.
Yeah.
And in Japan, it's not a matter of like giving them money. It's like if you have stamps, that's free advertising. That people in Japan should be prideful of their cars. I think if in America, if we had a bunch of stamps that had Jeep Cherokees on it, like
Whoa.
I'm just thinking, or like a Jeep Wrangler.
Okay, maybe Wrangler.
Yeah, like
So
a Wrangler. That'd be make
pretty
people a lot
American.
more prideful about them.
I'm looking through our stamps, and they've got spooky stamps and T-Rex stamps.
And they've got
lots
the
of different
garbage
stamps.
American flag ones, which are the only cheap ones.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
everything I mail has got an American flag on it. I feel like a repub. I'm like, all right.
Ugh.
This is
There's
awful.
working dogs.
That's
First
cute.
moon landing.
There you go.
Oh, the USS Missouri trains.
And the
So you really
Z
like
cars
her-
are definitely better.
Yeah.
Post office murals.
Wow. So the military-industrial complex is what we celebrate in our stamps,
Cool.
as opposed to the Z car.
I'm sure I'm gonna find some car stamps for you guys.
Okay.
There are like special runs of things like that in our country, but it's
Oh, there's Hot Wheels.
That's actually kind of cool.
Hot Wheels stamps.
yeah, that's pretty neat.
Are they all like?
They're very dramatized. It looks like Fast and the Furious 1 meets Hot Wheels.
There's Dragon stamps, Corey. World War I propaganda stamps.
Oh my god.
Well, at least they masks off on that one.
Jeez.
But there's no like official like Chevy stamp or like official
I
Ford
will
stamp.
find them, and if not, I know a postmaster general, and I'll talk to him. His
Yeah,
name's
like-
Charlie.
Yeah,
I
like
think that's
I'll
just
be-
Postmaster. I think General is the.
Oh, he's something fancy.
There's one of them.
but
oh.
well, previous one.
He-
But yeah, it's one of those things like the post office. If they were actually, celebrating the Ford Mustang and stuff like that, or like honestly even the Focus.
There's Star Trek stamps.
What about the Ford Explorer ST?
To be fair, you probably could make a pretty decent run of stamps of Ford Explorers.
There's
So you had the
Tiffany
Ford-
lamps.
You could have the.
As long as the newest one's very small.
they have Tiffany lamps. It's not even American.
Yeah, it's not. So we could have Z-car stamps.
Elvis.
Yeah, we could. Chris Craft. Like we could have,
BMW 3 Series stamps. Why not?
yeah, the Fiat 500 stamp, a Fiat multiple stamp.
Twingo stamps.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, We have lots of good stamps.
Very cool.
Janet, you go through. You try and find some cool stamps. Then before we're done with the episode, we'll have you talk about
I
Hello Kitty
called
cars.
out all the cool stamps. There's also a stamp subscription, so you can get.
Do they just send you weird crap, or do they send you like the same thing every time?
American flag. American flag.
Ah,
American flag.
damn it! This is not what I wanted.
You get a roll of 100 postcard stamps, and they can be delivered either once a month or twice a month.
So remember you were telling me about that LS400 by the Anchor,
Yes.
and you actually snapped a picture of it for me.
I went and
You're
looked underneath,
like
and it was
15,
not good.
$1,500 tops is
Yeah.
what you were saying maybe, but I mean that's probably still a pretty good option for my buddy Jake, but the fact that that thing is in a population dense area with street parking and they have to deal with it, I think they might even take less than that potentially if
Yeah,
it's for
probably.
sale.
I mean, so their price that they had was
Oh.
was $3,000. I thought it was $2,000.
Ooh.
I'm like, yeah, it's like crackhead price. But I think if somebody approached them with $1,500 in hand, they'd probably let it go.
I would, yeah, probably, especially if it's been for sale for a while.
The car is very, very good.
The body looked okay.
The
but
body
there's
the
rust
paint's
underneath.
Yeah, the paint's solid. The interior is really solid, but there's rust underneath. And I think
Yeah.
having rust underneath is going to be your.
Well, it changes your demographic for purchasing.
Well, I think more than that. For you to see rust on an LS400, do you know how bad
It's
it
been
has to
through
be?
some things.
Yeah, it's seen some shit. Like that car doesn't just like rust out. Like
I spilt the tea.
Oh no. Oh ho ho.
that's basically what this entire podcast is.
Ho ho and spilling tea. Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
We're gonna have shirts that say that, and that's our new brand
Haw,
name.
haw.
Haw and spilling tea.
that's fine. I'm actually okay with that, I suppose. But anyway,
It's a little Twingo drinking tea.
lowballing people
cute.
makes more sense in a situation like that when
Yeah.
they have limited parking. And I'm
Yeah,
using
that's
that
a
as
good
an
idea.
extremely poor segue to get into a topic I kind of want to talk about, which is street parking.
Yeah, let's
how
talk about
it's-
that. That's fun.
A massive pain in the ass. So
it is.
I have got.
Do you
a
think it's more of
few-
a pain of the ass for us because we don't necessarily always have to park on streets, whereas
think
in
it's-
Europe they
It's worse
are
for
used to
people
it?
that live outside of areas where you have to street park, and occasionally you go to places where you do.
yeah.
People that live in street parking only areas have the necessary parking permits and the savvy to kind of know
Yeah.
where to park when meters are enforced, when they aren't, and then even where meter maids aren't necessarily employed.
Yeah.
Because there are several areas where there are enough cutbacks where certain days of the week, even though meters or parking is enforced, you will never get ticketed, even on regulated street parking. So I have a few vehicles I drive on a regular enough basis that do not have front license plates and are regular license plates in Minnesota where you do need to have a
Yeah.
front and a rear plate. Where when I go downtown, uptown, something like that, where I need to street park, I'm always a little bit flustered as to the signage on like where is actually legal. Like there's no way that this is a spot for me to park, and then
Yeah.
I have to worry about putting the license plate visibly enough in the front windshield, and even then it's not technically legal.
Yeah, uptown is just tricky because they try to change their parking to match their flow of traffic, but it's
Right.
so hard to gauge, and that neighborhood is changing like with the blink of the eye, and like
Yeah, it's
it
crazy.
used to like I went to an eye appointment down there,
Mhm.
and even though they have some public parking garages, but they look like residential parking garages. Like
Mhm.
and so if I didn't know the neighborhood, I wouldn't have made it to my appointment on time
Sure.
because I do know where to park in that area, and
And I
like,
feel like they've got apps for meters now, and the
They
apps
do,
don't
but they're really
necessarily
tricky.
tell you.
clunky and
They
crappy.
are. They're
They
really horrible
suck.
apps, and they won't. If you
Ryan's
if you
banned from
enter
them
a
for some
meter
reason.
number
Yeah,
on
for
a
some
day where they're
reason-
not enforced, it'll still let you pay for that meter. It won't tell you that you don't have to pay,
yeah.
So
which is really tacky. But
for
if you
some
go,
reason, my account is locked out
of-
for Minneapolis parking.
he used it
Oh.
once.
I used it
jeez.
literally once. I don't know why it's locked out. I'm
They
so
are.
confused.
That app was made by the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
But then if you go to some place like Mall of America or
Yeah.
anywhere that's got a really, really high use parking ramp, they've got these little camera devices
Yeah.
that have reference points, and they will show you at a glance what parking is available,
Yeah.
and they use color codes to tell you if it's restricted, available, or occupied.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, for street parking, I mean, cameras don't necessarily make sense because it's
No.
outside. You have weather, if things
Yeah.
like snow get in the way.
And
but what
birds.
about Birds, yes.
Yes, birds do get in the way.
What about something like RFID though? Like, couldn't we, or even like inductive charging, or not charging, but like inductive loops that can sense when there's something on top of it that's,
Yeah.
metal, so they know that somebody's there to alert people, to just reduce the amount of manpower and like ultimately eliminate meter maids while still allowing them to generate revenue from street parking.
Yeah, and I mean,
'Cause then I
and
wouldn't
I
get front
think
plate tickets, which would be
yeah.
great.
I think in like uptown that would be a great thing because there's so much going on in that area. But I feel like downtown you would take so like, their construction like
Yeah.
really, like it takes away from the businesses in that area because if you take down one street in downtown, there's not enough parking.
Yeah, it cuts like a significant
Yeah.
percentage of total available
However,
parking.
Whereas
downtown.
if you
uptown, there's
work-
enough neighborhoods around it where I think it would work.
What if you worked it in as you are upgrading the roads?
Yeah, because I mean there is that
Well, and that's the
street.
thing. You'd have to roll it out, but you could integrate it with one of these apps. So, like, not only will it tell you kind of like when it's enforced and when it isn't, but in the future, in certain zones, it could tell you when it's currently occupied
Yeah.
and like how long somebody has left on their time. Like, that would be hugely helpful, and I think it would reduce the amount of like unnecessary engine time and driving and just congestion in areas if you could,
Yeah.
wait somebody out.
Another thing we can do is kind of like Min Pass, where you just have a little pass that's up in your window, or just use your Min Pass.
Well, you could, but
Which
then
is
you'd have to have like
one
overhead
second,
gantries.
I should explain. Min Pass is a RFID.
It's like iPass, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
iPass or anything else,
Easy
or any other
Pass.
state Easy
Like,
Pass.
like toll passes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have that for our HOV lanes. So what you could do is you could easily mount that to like a tree or something. It's just a
You
little reader
could.
that reads like 4 or 5 spots, and then what it'll do is instead of reading as you pass by, it reads when it initially senses the signal.
Right. So if it has that
then-
coil below,
and
then
then
it
yeah,
fires
and
up
then, and
the
then
reader.
every minute it'll read again, or every 10 minutes it'll read
Right,
again.
which is fine because
Yeah.
all the devices in the cars are passive RFID, so you're not wearing down a battery.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything, all the stress is on the grid. It's not on your vehicle.
Yeah, and if you have that like mounted to like say a tree or something, you
Yep.
could have that be solar powered,
Right.
or something along those lines.
It would be easy to power
It'd be
it.
very very easy to make that. It would be really not intrusive.
But not necessarily wholly reliable just because of
Yeah.
how narrow kind of the envelope is for like RFID in a situation like that. They'd
Yes.
have to be overhead. They'd kind of have to be at an angle, and it would be harder to prove or disprove. But I think to your point, like that would only help because it would tell the city staff where they think there's an issue, and then they could go locally and just like hand scan your RFID tag. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this person's fine.
And and that's the thing. Well, another thing is if you do it for say like my watch is say every 10 minutes, or sorry, every 10 minutes it scans.
Yeah, I think
So-
even 15 would be a reasonable
And
time
if
increment.
that way, if you have somebody that's just coming in, just like a DoorDash driver,
Yeah.
they're not gonna get charged.
Sure.
But like you could do that on side roads. Not in your main, not in your main like Hennepin Avenue, but like
Right, but-
Bryant or something.
Exactly, like
where
something
it's-
that's mainly used for residential and like
Yeah.
influx,
and
outflux
I think
traffic.
for like places like Uptown or Loring Park where you have, it's largely residential, but the street parking is metered.
Yeah.
Something like that would be a really good idea. And then, bye Corey.
Bye, sound engineer.
Have
Have fun shoveling.
Have fun at therapy.
have fun at your physical therapy.
It's not physical, it's mental.
It's physical.
Wait, what?
Physical and mental?
Yes.
Why is he going?
Oh,
It's just therapy. Anyway, so
The wolves got traumatized him.
but no, for somewhere that's like a largely residential area, like Loring Park area, somewhere like that, where you have these side streets where people have to pay like, if you want to park on your street, you either have to get a permit to be in your lot or you have to pay like a shitload of money. What you could do is the residents of that street can pay a certain monthly fee to park there. The RFID reader just reads it. And then for people that are visiting, every 10 minutes or so, you just get charged like $1. Like, I
Right.
think that's a really good idea.
But for like occasional street parkers, you'd probably want to have it so like every modern smartphone's got RFID built into it too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So like
I
if you
forget about
downloaded
that.
the app and you could use that, and there's still a kiosk thing where you could
Yeah.
swipe your phone or whatever, and then that might be a situation where it has to be checked on every once in a while. But I still think cutting down the amount of hardware that you're expected to
Yeah.
have, because like people that have MinPass, great, but like really expect somebody to go sign up for MinPass just to like
Well, I
drive
think
it
it is
park
as an
once or something
option.
like that.
As
Right.
an option,
But
yeah.
like that's great because it's already a piece of RFID tech that's on
Yeah.
a lot of people's cars,
Yeah.
so they don't necessarily need to use something like a smartphone.
Yeah.
But
I
either
think,
way,
I think that'd be an option. Your other alternative is you go to a kiosk and you have to pay for it like a plebeian.
right,
And
still
that's-
leave that as an
yeah.
option.
Or
But
Yeah.
like, I mean, this wouldn't necessarily be the best alternative, but like a motion sensor sort of deal. But I
Sure.
mean, those would be easy to like.
Oh,
fully
But in
God,
city
set.
areas,
imagine-
there's so
yeah.
much motion. I
Yeah.
would struggle with whether or not they could keep tabs on, making
Imagine
sure
the
the data they're getting.
imagine the number of parking tickets for
Trash
raccoons.
pandas.
Yeah.
Like every raccoon would have like a
They're all taped
APD around.
Just jails are full of raccoons.
You got like a raccoon like struggling to walk down an alleyway. It's got one of those like parking boots on its like torso. It's just
Just tape around its midsection, and it's got
Now all that I'm thinking of is the Basilica of St. Mary's parking lot that's like empty 90% of the time.
So if you were wondering what I was doing for most of that, most of what we were just talking about, while I was just sitting there messing around my phone, I just helped Mocha get himself a new car.
well, what did he get? Is he done with his Subaru now?
He is hopefully done with the Subaru. I can only hope. 2013 Honda Civic.
Oh, nice.
It is a manual.
Very
because
cool.
He
Very
loves
cool.
manuals.
He loves manuals.
Good
So-
guy.
We
Yeah.
converted him.
I gave him. I helped him make his first payment. So he did that. I'm not on the loan, so it's not my problem.
Not your problem when he becomes delinquent. Okay, sounds
No, I don't.
good.
I doubt he
it was
will.
over PayPal, so it's fine.
Yeah, it was over. It was actually over Venmo. But yeah, no, good for Mocha. I'm very happy for you. You've upgraded to a much more fun car, and you'll enjoy it a lot.
And it will
Yeah,
be
people
reliable.
want to pay me for babysitting over Venmo, but I don't want the government to tax me on it, so I tell them.
Yeah, you have to know what the limits are for all those apps
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
but-
I just say no
Cash is
cash
better.
or checks.
Yeah. You
Because I don't do it. I don't make enough money for it to.
Well,
be,
not only that, if it wasn't for the barter system, you would probably make taxable amount of money. But thank God they give you goats and things. So.
Yeah, I know. They pay me in Hot Wheels sometimes. It's really nice.
Yes, that's very true. So, what have we learned this week?
He's recovering.
I learned that there is an entire Facebook subgroup devoted to posting, like, fabrication quality fails for the SEMA show.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's
And it is
wonderful.
ripe with posts because SEMA's going on right now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. This- oh,
SEMA's just trash.
I still really want to go next year, but like,
We should go.
yeah, we should go with CEC next year.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about with CEC, but we should at least go with.
You don't have to actually
Carbitrage.
be next to any of those people, but it's a really cost-effective way to go.
Okay, cool. I'm alright with that then.
Yeah,
Jana, what did you learn this week?
I'll fly separately. I'll just.
cool.
Yeah.
So, Jana, what did you
What
learn?
did I learn this week? I mean, I've been in school. What did I learn? Oh.
Education is fun.
Yeah, we're just learning
Oh,
about.
you just said something before the beginning of the,
The-
podcast.
the-
Oh,
Wiperwoods.
I
Oh,
learned
well, we're gonna use
that.
that as a topic, I guess.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah,
This will be
no.
an actual topic. But it
No,
can
we're
be
not going to
okay.
talk about that.
Okay.
What else?
Leaving him
did
in
I
suspense
learn?
for a week now.
Just you wait.
It's been a
Right
very
until next Saturday.
tiring
Here,
week.
why don't you think about it? I'll tell you what
Yeah.
I learned. I learned that Smokey Eunuch, thank you very much, Donut Media. Smokey Eunuch, the NASCAR driver, he drove Doc Hudson. You know, Doc from Cars.
No, I've
You've
never
seen, you've
that.
seen, you've never seen Cars? The fabulous Hudson Hornet.
Okay.
You know the Hudson Hornet.
the
I'm
car that
aware of the
everybody.
car.
Google the Hudson
No.
Hornet, please.
No.
Just I'll show
Anyway,
you later.
he
You'll recognize him.
Smokey Eunuch was the guy who made the fabulous Hudson Hornet as fabulous as it really was.
Okay.
He was also I think he might be my real grandpa, because he
no.
did so many me things, and I think
He
they
was
have
telling me this, and I almost rolled out of the car.
so
Tuck and roll.
Smokey Eunuch was a master cheat at NASCAR that people are known for. So like at one point he took the NASCAR regulation gas tanks in the 1950s were 22 gallons. Well, he had a 26-gallon tank and put a basketball in it and inflated it for when they tested. So it tested at 22.
Wow.
And then he would deflate it. So then he got caught doing that. And what he did is he noticed that, okay, they put in a new clause in the rules saying you cannot have any foreign objects in your gas tank.
Oh shucks.
And then he goes, well, they never stated how long the fuel filler neck can be.
Oh,
So
man.
he got 11 feet of 2-inch fuel filler hose and made a 6-gallon fuel filler neck. So this guy's like the greatest guy ever. But this is my favorite Smokey Eunuch fact is
that's so
in
great.
World War II, he was a pilot of a bomber. And when he was training as a bomber, he was stationed in South Carolina for like a year, and he's really bored. So what he'd do is he'd take the planes around. He'd take empty Coca-Cola bottles, so he dropped them out the window and make the same noise as a bomb because they have a hole inside of them.
Okay.
So he'd fly over farmers' fields real low, over by where they were training, doing their bombing droppings. You'll find a farmer in a tractor, he'd fly overhead and he'd drop a Coca-Cola bottle out. And you watch the farmer bail out of the tractor.
As it's probably still going. Wow, what a douche.
Yeah, so Smokey Eunuch,
He is your spirit animal.
I learned that Smokey Eunuch is my real grandpa. So that's what I learned. He was also in Alabama roughly around the time my mom was married, and he had many lovers. So I think that he might have actually sired my mother.
Your
So-
mother?
Oh, might have been the father of my mother.
Okay.
So,
You worded that very
Yeah, I
strangely,
know,
and
right?
it didn't compute in my brain.
So yeah, there you go, Smokey Eunuch, my real grandpa. I'm pretty excited. Jana, give us a fact about burbs.
No, I learned a lot about Jesus this week, unfortunately. Yeah, it was really terrible. But it's also really hilarious trying to hearing a Christian girl try to explain why Jesus is God, and I'm like, okay.
Fuck, I've had enough of that.
Jesus
And then-
isn't God.
No, I know, that's what I was like. I was raised Catholic. I don't believe in
Yahweh
this.
is
Please.
God. Jesus is the... Anyway, I'm not getting
Yeah,
into that.
but then my
I'm not religious.
professor explained it in terms of Hinduism, and the entire class was like, "Oh, I get it," and I could see the visual frustration on the Christian girl's face because she's like, "No, it's not that," and I was like laughing. I was like,
So what did you learn?
I learned I really like to see Christian people get pissed off.
There you go. That's a real fact. Anyway, thank you for listening to Carbitrage.
I promise you I'm open, but, those horse girls just get me.
She is really into horses. It's really weird.
No, I don't like them.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
If you're on
Hail
Twitch,
Satan.
keep with it. We're going to keep the stream on. We'll get with you by, I believe, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. Otherwise, if you're listening on any other form of media, we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.